All right, our saying today. Today's saying is from John Mays, M-A-Y-S. Mays Hayes. There's a kid in 8th grade. His last name's Mays, and there's a coach out there all the time that always called him Mays Hayes. No, it was me.
What are things during baseball season? What am I in Hayes? All the time. Randomly. At random times in practice.
I didn't know you did that like that. All right, Mr. Mays said, make sure the thing you're living for is worth dying for. Make sure the thing you're living for is worth dying for. Charles Mays. Make sure the thing you're living for is worth dying for. I saw you Saturday morning. I saw you Saturday morning. We had a basketball game at Bridgeport Elementary, and we were pulling out and leaving. And I looked, and you were walking out talking to somebody. Had your vest on, y'all dressed up nice, and you was talking to somebody there at the feed store. Came out the door. You was talking to somebody. Saturday morning, were you there?
I thought you were talking about basketball.
No. We were leaving Bridgeport Elementary and pulled out on 114. And so you do your job, working with customers. All right, we're on. Try this one. All right, we're on number 11, correct? Interest groups. The NRA is an interest group. The American Medical Association is an interest group. The Teamsters is an interest group. Interest groups are groups of people my gosh, piece of garbage. Groups. Oh God, so I'm going home. I've had enough. Groups of people who have gotten together. They've gotten together because they care about. They have the same interests. They got together because they share an interest. They're interested in the same thing. The NRA. What's the NRA? National Rifle Association. So they care about the Second Amendment. You've got the American Medical Association. That's a group of doctors that come together to try to help out medical stuff. The Teamsters. What's the Teamsters? That's a labor union. MAD. I don't hear about this much. What's MAD? Mothers Against Drunk Driving. You get together with people because you want something to happen or you want to keep something from happening. And you work together because you care about this thing or this group of things. The Sierra Club is an environmentalist group because they care about the environment. Do they care who wins the election? What do they care about the election? Like the NRA. Who does the NRA want to win the election? Do they care about political party? Not one bit. Because they care about the Second Amendment. And if you're a Democrat that has looked to protect the Second Amendment, they're going to give you money. And they're going to support you. If you're a Republican and you don't support the Second Amendment, they will not support you and they will not give you money. So interest groups only care about the election. They care that that person supports their interests. Does that make sense? So they care about their interests. They will give money and support to candidates who share their interests. Does that make sense? See how a labor union is an interest group because they can care about their job, their careers, making sure they make as much money as they can, get the most benefits, all that kind of stuff. Everybody good on that? All right. A PAC. Political Action Committee. Political Action Committee. These were created within the last 30, 40 years. Their job, a PAC's job, is to provide money for candidates. Whenever you see a political commercial at the end, it's paid for by such and such political action committee. Political action committee or PAC at the bottom in the middle letters. There's two types of PACs. There are, how do I'm gonna say interest group PACs. And there's individual PACs. What would an individual PAC be? For an individual. If Lakin's running for president, the Lakin Yates for President Political Action Committee would raise money for his campaign. What would an interest group PAC be?
Democratic Party, right?
Well, I don't know if the party can have their own PAC. They might could, like the NRA would have a PAC, Political Action Committee. They would raise money to give to what kind of candidates? Support the Second Amendment. So you can either get money from a group, or you could get your own money from your own campaign. But it all has to do with campaign money. Did I get there? All right, we already did 13. Different types of interest groups out there. There are labor union interest groups. There is cause interest groups. The NRA is a cause interest group because they're fighting for a cause. They're fighting for something they believe in. I wouldn't call the American Medical Association a labor union, but it is like it's an occupational interest group. Endorsement. If I endorse Lakin Yates for president, what am I doing? Giving him support. Right? I could be giving him money, but like if I step out of the race and say I want to give my support to the next president of the United States, Lakin Yates, I'm endorsing Lakin Yates. Newspapers sometimes will endorse a candidate. Endorsing means to give them support. And maybe even to join their campaign. Y'all probably don't do this. Y'all probably don't endorse checks, do you? When I was growing up, you had to endorse your check. It's like if somebody, if somebody gives you a check, you got to sign the back. Now, I know y'all probably do. If you ever get a check, you probably just do the little phone thing or whatever. But when I was a kid, you had to sign the back of the check. You're giving your support to that check. You're saying that check is legit. It's funny.
Every time I do that, my dad's around, you just turn that into cash. You better keep up with it.
Yeah. Little Christy says the bank would never take my signature because she signed my stuff forever at the bank. So they would never take my signature because it doesn't look nothing like hers. Lobbying. Y'all lobby all the time. I'd say teenagers do it more than I do, but what do you think, what's lobbying mean? Lobbying means trying to persuade somebody. you lobby your parents all the time for something. You lobby your friends to do something sometimes. When it comes to politics, lobbying, it basically means trying to get somebody to do something. Or not do something. The NRA hires people to be lobbyists. And I don't know if I spelled that right, I'm sure I didn't. Who are they trying to lobby?
People on the other side.
We're politicians. Because they want politicians to put programs in and to vote for stuff that support the Second Amendment. So they will have lobbyists in Washington and in Austin going there and trying to say, sit down with these lawmakers and say, we would like you to vote this way on this bill. How do you persuade a politician to do something?
Money.
And it's legal bribery. You donate to their campaigns. And there is rules and regulations about how much you can give and when you can give and what you can't do. Companies are lobbyists. Governments hire lobbyists. Interest groups hire lobbyists. And their job is trying to get politicians to support something or not support something. Who would be hired? You know, what's that? We buy stuff from sporting goods companies, and there are salesmen that come around, and we buy our stuff through these salesmen. Who would make a good sporting goods salesman? To sell stuff to schools. Sometimes old coaches. Why would those companies hire old coaches to go around and sell sporting goods to schools? What have they been around their whole career? The stuff. So they know what you need. And who are they trying to get to buy this stuff? Coaches. And who do these old coaches know? Coaches. Who would you hire to be a lobbyist? Old politicians, retired politicians get jobs as lobbyists because they know the system, they know the people, and there's already an end. You know, the people in Congress remember this guy from Congress, this girl from Congress, and so there's already a relationship there, and the people, the lobbyists know the system and all that stuff. If I call my congressman and say, hey, I want you to do this, or the NRA calls my congressman, who are they going to listen to? Me or the NRA? Because the NRA represents millions of individuals, thousands of people in their district, and they also have power and money, which I don't have. And some people say that's not fair. Look down at 16. Interest groups represent thousands to millions of people. I represent myself. They all also represent thousands to millions of dollars, which I don't have. Is it fair that the NRA has a louder voice than I do? Yes and no. What's the NRA made up of? People, individuals who have gotten together to make their voice louder. So there's a lot of criticism that interest groups have too much power in our country, but really interest groups just represent a bunch of individuals that have chosen to get together and make their voice louder and be more powerful. Does that make sense? So the good thing about interest groups is it gives you a louder voice. The criticism of interest groups is their voice is louder than my voice. If you want your voice louder, what do you need to do? Get a part of a group that believes what you believe, and they're out there. There's the anti-Second Amendment group. I don't know what they're called. You can join that. I know they got one somewhere, I guess. I've never heard of them, but I'm sure there is. Does that kind of make sense? The problem, and remember Mr. Smith goes to Washington. What was the problem?
Corruption.
Money. It's not the interest groups that's the problem. If we take away the need for money from politicians, we take away that problem. Does that make sense? If we, no more TV commercials, no more garbage. All right, now political parties. Political parties are groups of people who've gotten together because of why? They have the same political ideas. They share political ideas. Is that almost just like an interest group?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The main difference is, do interest groups care who wins the election? They care about their interests. They care that whoever wins supports their interests. Do political parties care about elections? Yes, they want their side to win the election. So that's what they're concerned with. They want their party to win the election. The interest groups want whoever wins to support their stuff. Now, if they know ahead of time what the person wants, they care who wins the election. If they care about their thing, political parties care that their person wins the election. They care about the people. Interest groups care about the thing. George Washington said, we don't need political parties. He was scared of political parties. He even wanted to outlaw political parties. Could you do that? What if you outlawed political parties? He said they're illegal. What would happen the next day after they illegal them? Criminal, I don't know what word you'd use there. What would happen the day after that? Who do you get together with? People you have things in common with, or people you're opposite of? People would get together and say, we want this person to win the election. And they work together to get this person to win the. You couldn't outlaw political parties. Does that make sense? People are always going to work together to get their thing they care about to happen. Yes. Progress. We have a two-party system in America. We always have. We've had, I know it's some Whigs and Tories and Democrat, Republicans, and somebody else, and now we have Democrats and Republicans. Someday, some new party will come in and I think replace the Republican Party because they're broken. They're not good. They don't have a backbone. Democrats have a backbone. Republicans don't have a backbone. But we do have a two-party system. There are one-party systems, and there are multi-party systems. If you go into a store and there's one type of shirt, all kinds of sizes, one type of shirt, what is fantastic about that? What's great about that? You just go get your size and you're done. You don't have to waste time shopping. You can go get your stuff done. What's horrible about one type of shirt? Just one type of shirt. You might hate it. What's an example of a multi-party system? Or a single-party system?
One top shirt.
Give me one. Give me a country. Or a, oh, crap, man. Yes, he is. All right. They just see it in problem. Robert's here. Y'all know we have a kid named Robert here tonight? Y'all said hey? Give it away. Make you feel welcome. Give me an example of a single party system. Where have you heard of a single party system? Nazi Germany. North Korea. South Korea, no, not that. Piece of crap countries have a single party system. Communism is a single party system. Why is communism a single party system? Why doesn't communism say, hey, let's let everybody? Because they would never get picked. They'd never win. Why was the Berlin Wall built? Keep people in, not to keep people out. Nobody was fighting to get into communist East Germany. People were sprinting out of communist East Germany, so they built the wall around it. Communism, Fidel Castro in Cuba. He was a dictator. He had elections one year, I remember in the 90s. There was a lot of world pressure. You need to have elections. Yeah, he says, okay, we'll have election. Fidel Castro, he won the election because Fidel Castro was the only name on the ballot. And he won. In Iraq, Saddam Hussein was the dictator. He would have elections periodically, and there was another choice. It was a two-party system. Saddam Hussein, bullet in the head. And he would get 98% of the vote. 2% chose bullet in the head. So one-party system is communist or dictatorship. Hitler. Two-party system is American. You go into the American shirt store. There's two types of shirts, multiple sizes. Do you get a shirt that you like? No, you get the shirt that makes you throw up the least. So you walk in, you look at this one, you go, bleh. You go over to this one, you go, I gotta get this one because I barely threw up on this one. This one really made me throw up. So you don't get one you really like, you get one you can live with. Or maybe, I know I can't live with this one, so I have to go with this one. That's a two-party system. Multi-party system. England has a multi-party system. So you walk into the store, and they have 5 different shirts. Can you find one maybe that you like? Maybe so. You can actually buy one you like. The bad part about a multi-party system, say England, I don't know how many they got. Let's say they have 5. The bad thing about a multi-party system is it's hard to get and keep a majority long enough to get anything done. So if you win 26% of the vote, you won the majority. Maybe everybody else got like 20 or 15 or so. So it's hard. That's not a strong majority. In a two-party system, you can get and keep a majority long enough to get some things happening. In a one-party system, as long as your bullets hold out, you can get and keep a majority. All right, third-party candidates. We've already mentioned this kind of stuff. 1992. You had Governor Clinton, Democrat, versus the incumbent President Bush. There's a guy named Ross Perot. We all ever heard of Perot before. Some of y'all might even have been there before in school. I don't know if they ever were. There's a Perot museum, right? Ross Perot was one of the first computer salesmen in the 60s. He started this computer company, and he got rich. And he was real funny looking, and he had his little tiny person with this big head and these huge ears, and he talked like this, and he ran for president. And he became really popular because people didn't like President Bush because there's a real famous clip of him saying no new taxes. And that's what he ran on. And then he decided he wanted Democrats to like him, and they wanted to pay. They said, if you'll raise taxes, let's use that raise in taxes to pay down the deficit. And as soon as he signed the bill that raised taxes, they went on TV showing him no new taxes and then showing him signing the new tax bill. Say, look at this guy, look what he does. He's flipping, he's flopping, So Clinton, nobody knew who he was. President Bush, people knew who he was, but they were mad because he was raising taxes. So people started jumping on this Perot bandwagon. I was one of those people. He got 12% of the vote, give or take. Who did that mean the new president was? He was conservative. So what did this 12% mean? 12% came from people that would have voted for President Bush. They wouldn't have voted for President Clinton. So this third party candidate meant Clinton won the election. In my mind, this guy was a big businessman. In my mind, the reason I voted for him is because he was the best candidate out of these three. A lot of times, the third party candidate is the better candidate. 2000, you had Vice President Gore, and you had Governor Bush from Texas, Republican, Democrat. There was a guy named Ralph Nader running for president. He was with the Green Party. What do you think the Green Party wants?
Green.
Environmental.
Yeah.
So they're liberal.
Green.
His economic plan was if you make more than $100,000 a year, everything above that goes to the government. That's called communism. That's not a good system to me because number one, the government cannot handle money, right? They don't know how to handle money. We've seen that. I think we're at 24 trillion now. I think he got 3+%. Al Gore got the popular vote but lost the electoral vote. If Nader had not been running for president, Gore would have won Florida. So because Nader ran, it pulled votes away from Al Gore, which meant Governor Bush won the election. Third-party candidates cause the other. You can vote for whoever you want. If you vote for a third-party candidate, you're really voting for the side you don't like. Does that make sense? Because they're not going to win the election. This is the best an independent candidate has ever done. You're never going to get more than that. But you see what I'm talking about. The third-party candidate, which is usually the best candidate, is going to pull votes away from your side. Because if you voted for Perot, you sure weren't going to vote for Clinton. You would have voted for Bush. If you're going to vote for Nader, you for sure wasn't going to vote for Bush. You would have voted for Gore. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying that's what happens. Does that make sense? You're really causing... All right, let's say you hate the Paradise coaches, and so you go play for an independent football team, and you score touchdowns for this independent football team. You're not going to go to Boyd to play football because you don't want them to win, but you're scoring touchdowns for this team over here, which means you're not scoring touchdowns for this team. And if you're scoring touchdowns for this one, does that make sense at all? The more I talk, the dumber it sounded. So just get out of it. All right, hard money and soft money. This is political donations. I've never given to a political party. I've never given to a candidate in my life. Hard money or had money. I had money once.
Teachers, pardon the interruption. At this time, we need any high school students that need their pictures retaken for the yearbook to report to the library. All students that are having their picture taken or retaken for the yearbook need to report to the library at this time. Thank you.
I have enough pictures of me. I don't need more pictures of me. I know what I look like. I've had enough. Hard money goes to a specific candidate. You can give money to the Lake and Yates for President campaign. That is hard money, and it is limited. You are limited to how much you can give to an individual candidate. You can give to a bunch of candidates, but we limit how much you can give. What if I was a billionaire and I wanted Lake and Yates to win the presidency and I wanted to give him $1 billion to run for president? Should I be able to do that? That's dumb. Number one, I don't think that's dumb to do. I think that's dumb. But if you can do that and not, yeah, I saw a deal the other day. There was this company called Corgi. They would make cars when I was a kid. And they made the coolest replica cars for like movie cars. Batman. They had the Batmobile. And I had one when I was a kid. And me and Titan were talking about it. And it was so cool. It would do all this stuff and the doors would open. And it was a perfect replica. I would like to buy another one. When you get old, you want stuff you had when you was a kid. We're done that way. I'm sure it would cost hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars. That'd be a waste of money. But if I have the money to do it, should I be able to do that? Yeah. Why do we say you can't give $1 billion to a candidate?
There's not very many Democrats with $1 billion.
Let's say, I think there's a bunch. There's a bunch of both. What if I gave $1 billion to Lincoln Yates and he became president, the morning after he won, would he get a phone call? From who?
Oh,
Me. Say, hey Lake, what's up? Hey, I heard you won. Wonder why you won. Let me tell you something. And then I would start to tell him some things, right? Would that give me a lot of control over that president? Yeah, so we do that to keep that situation from happening. Hard money goes to a specific candidate, it is very limited. Soft money goes to a party.
So do you think like there was like an actual instance where that happened, where they had to make that rule?
That happens today.
Or just
Because somebody does something like George Soros is going to call, he'd already had several conversations with President Biden or whatever, you know, he's a huge donor, $1 billion guy. That already happened. And I'm not stupid. There's ways around this. One of them is this. You can give, this is unlimited. So you can give millions of dollars to the Democrat or Republican Party, and that can find its way to the candidate. Now there is a lot of laws and rules and regulations about how money can get to them and what they can spend money on, and there's all kinds of keeping track of it all. But the thing I don't know is, like, Hillary Clinton has a lot of money that was donated for her to run for president. I don't know what happens when you lose or when you're not running anymore. I don't know what happens to that. I assume, and I've looked some things up, and it sounds like it goes back to whatever party. Because you can't give it back to the people. Because who knows whose money you spent and how much, you know what I'm saying? You can't go back and give money to the people. But soft money is unlimited, it goes to the party. Hard money goes to the specific candidate, specific persons. I don't think we should donate to campaigns myself, but that's just me. Caucus, we've done this before. What's a caucus?
This is like the first primary election.
That's true. Iowa caucus. It's a party meeting. The party meets together. If there's a caucus in Washington, the Democrats meet together, the Republicans meet together. So it's a party meeting together. Triple your pay today, Taylor, for doing that. That's awesome. That makes me less likely to have a heart attack today. And to feel like I'm not wasting time. Feel good. I probably will have a heart attack soon because I keep feeling the tight right here. Isn't that like one of the signs? But I won't have time to go mess with that bad and talk to you about it. I'll just wait till it happens and then be, why did I do something before, you know? So. What y'all do?
We made fun of Coach John's heart attack today.
There it is. All right, primary elections. Taylor already mentioned this. Primary elections take place when? Not time period, but like when do you need a primary election? If you got more than one per party running for that office. If there's more than one running from that particular party, you gotta have a primary election. There are open primaries and there are closed primaries. Closed primaries are good. Open primaries are not good. What's the difference? If a primary is open, who can vote? Anybody. Now you'd have to pick one. You couldn't vote in both Republican and Democrat, but it's open to anybody. Closed primaries. Who can vote in closed primaries? Republicans can vote in the Republican primary. Democrats can vote in the Democratic primary. Why did I put a happy face on closed primaries? Who should decide who the Republican candidate is? Republicans. Who should decide the Democratic candidate? I should have no say-so in the FFA president. Not in FFA. I shouldn't have any say-so over it. What happens in open primaries? Like this year, Republicans. President Trump was running. There wasn't any viable candidate running against him. So in open primaries, who did Republicans go vote for? They would go try to vote for the crappiest Democratic candidate they could. Try to sabotage the other side. Flip side, if President Obama's running, Democrats going to go vote in the Republican primary and try to get Mickey Mouse elected. So you got Mickey Mouse running against their candidate. Let's see. Absentee ballots. If you have to be gone, where do you vote? Where do you have to vote? Wherever you're registered, you have to vote there. You have to vote there. So if you're in the military, bless you, or if you're in school or gone somewhere, you're going to have an absentee ballot sent to you, and then you send it back. Now there was absentee ballot. Does that make sense? Absentee ballots, you vote if you can vote through mail if you couldn't be there. But you have to vote in your county. You have to vote in the county you're registered. So absentee ballots sent to you, and you send them back. We've done that for generations. That's happened. Is there some risk there? Yeah. But the key is, it is sent to me. I asked for that, and I sent it back. This year we had mail-in ballots. What's the difference between mail-in ballots and absentee ballots? Now, I'm not an expert at this. This is what I understand. The controversy with the mail-in ballots this year was you did not have to ask, have it sent to you. They just sent ballots out to all these addresses. And I don't know that they were mailed to a specific person, but they sent them to everybody's, they sent them out to all kinds of people. That to me doesn't sound like a good idea. If I didn't ask for it, that's where you can get, that's a lot more risk of having some crap happen than me asking to have a ballot sent to me and there's a record of me asking and all that kind of stuff. Less chance of me voting twice, less chance of a dead person voting. Although every election, what's happening? What have I told you? Dead people voted every election. Sometimes more than others, but it's never good when dead people vote in elections.
I saw this video, this guy's like, I'm headed to my grandma's house right now. I've never been so mad. She voted Democrat this year. He walks up to the what is the vases with the ashes in it?
Yeah.
Starts yelling.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot.
Teachers, pardon the interruption. I need the following students to report to the library at this time: Sarah Harper, Jada Pelzel, and Caden Wallace. Thank you.
Yeah, you know Marlon Haggard voted Democrat? Charlie Daniels did too. Kenny Rogers.
They all have something in common.
Good.
Mickey Mouse always votes too.
Yeah.
Donald Duck. We have a relation when Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. How much is a square bag?
No,
It really doesn't. It doesn't matter. I don't eat alfalfa.
Coastal's 10, wheat straw's 550, 2 string alfalfa is 15, 3 strings.
Yeah, we don't do all that. We just got 2 dumb goats. And they eat their own food, so I mean, wheat straw's good enough for them. Yeah, because they'll leave the house.
I think it was. Really doesn't do this.
Breathable. Having physical back now? Alright, well, I'm holding these for Clyde.
Totten played basketball Saturday. He hustled better than Pacer did in basketball.
Pacer? Pacer's not here. Where is Pacer?
He's in the best.
Alright, good.
Have a great day.
Are you sure you want to do it?
Yeah, but they're about $45 and I just paid for this pencil.